Okay, let's dive into one of nature's biggest puzzles. We're talking about a mammal that just breaks all the rules. It lives a life so strange, so completely alien, that it forces us to rethink everything we thought we knew about what a mammal is supposed to be. And yeah, that's the big question right there. How can a mammal live like an insect? I mean, it sounds totally impossible, right? A warm-blooded creature organizing its whole life like it's a termite mound or a beehive? Well, you're going to want to stick around because that is exactly what the naked mole rat does. And here it is. This is their world. We're not talking about the sunny plains of Africa, but deep down below them, in these massive, dark, sprawling networks of tunnels. It's like a subterranean city that can stretch for miles, all dug out with their teeth. So what does insect-like actually mean here? Well, it all boils down to a single concept that scientists call eusociality. Now, you see this all the time in insects, but for mammals, it's practically unheard of. It's a social setup so extreme, the whole colony acts more like one single organism than a bunch of individuals. And when I say extreme, I mean it. Imagine a colony with, say, 80 mole rats. Out of all of them, only one female ever gets to have babies. Just one. She's the queen. And everybody else? They're all sterile workers, and their entire lives are dedicated to serving her. So, naturally, we have to talk about the queen. She's not just a mom. She's an absolute monarch. She rules her underground kingdom with, well, an iron fist, but also with something way more subtle, and honestly a lot more powerful. You see, she keeps her spot at the top using a kind of chemical warfare. She doesn't have to go around physically dominating every single rival, even though she totally does that too. She has a secret weapon that keeps the whole colony in check, and they don't even realize it's happening. And this is it, pheromones. These are these powerful chemicals in her urine that just drift through the tunnels. And when the other females breathe them in, their own reproductive systems just shut down. That's right. The queen's scent literally makes them sterile. And scientists proved just how powerful this is with a pretty wild experiment. They went into a colony and just kept the toilet areas clean, so the queen's urine was constantly being removed. The result? It was instant chaos. Without those pheromones, other females suddenly became fertile, and this massive power struggle broke out as they all fought to become the new queen. Her chemical control is the literal glue holding their society together. Okay, but what about everyone else? The queen can't run the show all by herself. The rest of the colony is this highly organized workforce with a super rigid caste system where every single mole rat has a specific job that's basically assigned to them for life. So you've got two main groups. First are the frequent workers. These are the smallest ones, and they do pretty much everything, all the digging, finding food, cleaning. Then you have the infrequent workers. These are the big guys, and they mostly just sleep. That is, until they're needed for a very specific and very dangerous job. And get this, a mole rat's entire career is determined by its weight. When they're small, maybe 20 grams, they're on nest duty and carrying food around. But as they get bigger, past 40 or 50 grams, their job completely changes. They become defenders, digging tunnels and acting as bodyguards against snakes. In their world, your body is your resume. And the reality of these jobs is just brutal. If a snake manages to get into the burrow, those big, infrequent workers, the lazy ones, they suddenly turn into soldiers, throwing themselves at the snake. But if a small worker gets snatched while it's pushing dirt out of a tunnel, the others just seal the tunnel right behind it. It's abandoned. They are completely, totally expendable. So, why? Right? Why have this incredibly harsh, rigid society? Well, the answer is all around them. It's their environment. You see, surviving deep underground throws up some extreme challenges, and that demands some pretty extreme solutions. First off, just think about the sheer size of their home. A single colony's tunnel system can stretch for up to 3 kilometers. That's almost 2 miles. Building and maintaining something that huge requires a level of teamwork that is just off the charts. And then you've got the food problem. They live off these gigantic underground tubers that can weigh up to 50 kilos. That's over 100 pounds. But instead of just eating the whole thing, they treat it like a farm. They eat just enough to survive and leave the rest of the tuber to regrow, which guarantees them a food supply for later. That takes planning. Living in a sealed burrow also means the air is basically poisonous. It's super low in oxygen and crazy high in carbon dioxide. So how do they deal with that?
They evolved to have the lowest metabolic rate of any mammal. They essentially just slowed their bodies down to a crawl to save every last bit of oxygen.
And this might be the most shocking thing of all. They're basically cold-blooded. Seriously, unlike pretty much every other mammal on the planet, they can't regulate their own body temperature. It's a huge energy saver, sure, but it just goes to show how far they've strayed from the standard mammal playbook. So let's put it all together. You've got chemical mind control, a strict caste system, insane physical adaptations. All of these clues point to the final and honestly the most startling secret behind their incredible cooperation. I mean, this is the biggest question, isn't it? Why on earth would any animal give up its own right to have kids and even give up its own life, all for one queen? Well, the answer isn't about loyalty. It's about math. It's genetic math. And the science gives us the key. Studies like this one, using DNA fingerprinting, have shown that everyone inside a single colony is incredibly, almost identically related to each other. What's happened probably over centuries is intense inbreeding. We're talking brothers with sisters, sons with mothers. It's turned the whole colony into what is basically one giant scattered organism. The workers are so genetically similar to the queen that helping her pass on her genes is pretty much the same as passing on their own. And that really is the heart of it. It looks like self-sacrifice, but it's actually the ultimate act of genetic selfishness. By making sure the queen, who is practically their clone, succeeds, each worker is making sure its own genetic legacy survives. The individual doesn't matter. Only the colony's genes do. So that's what we're left with. A creature that just completely blurs the line between an individual and a colony, between a mammal and an insect. It really makes you wonder, what rules in nature are actually unbreakable? And what incredible paths can life take in that endless, relentless quest to survive?